Hello, welcome back to Economic Debate. My name is Fiddle Fiddleston, I'm your host, and let's get right into tonight's show. This week, we have a very special episode. Today, a representative from Aotearoa. Please welcome Ryan Smith.
Hello, thanks for the welcome.
Why don't you tell us about yourself, Ryan Smith?
Well, I work as an economic supervisor in the Aotearoa government. I'm head of my department and I monitor things such as country GDP and how the economy works on a whole. I'm from Aotearoa myself and I've lived there basically all my life.
So why don't you tell us about your economy then? What kind of economic system do you have in place?
We have a free market economy with small amounts of government intervention.
A free market economy, huh? Sounds good to me. I've always thought that there are more benefits than failings to the free market system.
Indeed, it gives the businesses the freedom that Aotearoa encourages so strongly. The government has been one of the leaders in personal freedom for a very long time, so it only makes sense that it is represented in the economy as well.
Well, the country's ideals are certainly interesting to discuss, don't you agree? Why don't we discuss some basic facts about the GDP of Aotearoa?
Sure, our GDP last year was roughly £200 billion last year. The GDP per capita is therefore roughly £40,000, due to the population being 5 million as of last year. The GDP is made up of mostly services, with 51% of the GDP being from that region. The industries of Aotearoa take around 20% of the GDP. Agriculture makes up the remaining 29%.
What a breakdown. So what exports make up the majority of your GDP?
It's mostly agricultural exports such as sheep, dairy, fruit and veggies, and my personal favorite, wine.
You know, I've had Aotearoa champagne once. It was very tasty in my humble opinion. You mentioned industries above. Can you give me some examples of the leading industries in Aotearoa?
Some examples of industry include mining, financial services, and construction. Tourism is one of Aotearoa's biggest industries, with around 8 million tourists a year.
That's a lot of tourists. Any specific reasoning behind the amount of people?
Mostly the integration the community has with the environment, as many people around the world, not just Aotearoans, are interested in preserving the environment.
I know I am. I've never visited Aotearoa myself, but from what I've seen, the environment is sure well up to preserving there. Now, that we know what makes up the GDP, why don't we discuss how the GDP is consumed in Aotearoa?
A fantastic idea, if I do say so myself. Most of the GDP is consumed by households around the country. Around 20% is used by the government. The rest is used in assorting, importing, and exporting, among other things.
Now, let's talk about unemployment rates in Aotearoa.
Around 5.8% of the adult population is currently unemployed. Around 70% of the population works in services, with the remainder working in industry and agriculture.
Oh! We haven't talked about the exports.
Of course, we take a lot of meat and agriculture from Aotearoa, and steel and cars from Lombardia.
Are those your major trade partners?
Certainly play a part. As part of the UN, we trade with many countries around the world. Aotearoa and Lombardia only play a part in that.
Well, certainly I want to visit the country. Now, thank you very much for being on the show today. Well, I'll see you in the audience soon. This is Fiddle Fiddleston, signing off. So many bloody bluefish.